Are you writing too fast? Many and perhaps most people write too fast. I don't mean that they end up with a text characterized by sloppy grammar, spelling problems, and chronology issues, although that may be the case, of course. No, what I mean is that they rush through the process of writing their stories. They write impatiently, pursuing the end of a published memoir. They end up with a story that is not as meaningful nor as well written as it could be had they lingered with the process. Let me ask you, have you been conflicted by the videos, the books, and the blog posts that would have you write a memoir in 30 days or, well, even more absurdly, in a weekend? Have you felt the pressure to write more quickly? Well, I'm going to urge you to resist. In this video, let me, on the other hand, urge you to do the exact opposite. Write slowly. Linger with your story. But before we start, let me introduce myself. I am Denis Ledoux, author of the classic granddaddy of memoir writing books, Turning Memories into Memoirs, and founder of the Memoir Network. I have a bonus for you at the end of this video, so stay on. In my workshops, or with my writing clients, I have found it not at all difficult to tell those manuscripts that have been lingered over from those that have not. As somebody's face reveals Irish ancestry or Italian heritage, a piece of writing reveals its past. There is a quality to a piece that has been rushed that is easily discernible to anyone who has learned to write more slowly. So, learn to linger with your story. In this video, I will help you to do just that by presenting 3 essential reasons to linger with the writing process. Reason number 1. When you don't take the time to linger with your story, you generally are unable to discern the full theme of your memoir. You can feel your way into the full depth of the story, that is, its theme, only when you dawdle with it, live with it a while. Although you may even be impatient with yourself, although others may be asking you for your story to read, you need to resist finishing your memoir or creating a final product. You need to do so until you sense that you have really exhausted the possibilities of the story in your heart and in your mind. Only when you linger with your stories in this way will you be ready to produce the very best memoir that you are capable of. Because you have taken the time to linger rather than rushing for closure, you are aware of your changing responses and needs. It takes a long time to write a good memoir, and you, the writer, can go through many permutations that will influence the story. Not all of your immediate reactions should appear in your memoir. By taking your time, you can select those you want to include and those you would like to exclude. Over time, you keep adding to your stories here and deleting from them there, so that the facts and the images and the action, everything, blend into the story recounting you have been striving for. And this recounting will have the depth of theme. In the process of writing memoir and lingering with it, perhaps you get up from your chair and you take a walk. Your impulse is not to avoid your story, but to be with it in a different way. While you are fussing around like this with your story, you're actually in a pre-writing stage of composition. In the end, it's all part of the stages of writing. Or perhaps you place your memoir printout in a 3-ring binder at the edge of your desk, and every once in a while you pick it up, perhaps in between times of working on something else, and you reread your text and keep it in mind as you go about your day. That is lingering, and that too is one of the steps in the writing process. Then after a while of having put the story aside, minimally a week, but a month or two are even better. You go back to reread what you have written, like a good cook, always taking a sip of the soup to ascertain if all the flavors are blending together to form a unique taste. As you reread, you are aware of the response the story evokes in you, and you check whether you are feeling what you want the reader also to feel. You assess, too, whether the story you have written conveys what you have attempted to convey emotionally as well as factually. Reason number 2 to linger. Lingering contributes to making a memoir whole, finished, impactful. Let's look to the example of visual artists for a clear model on how to linger with a work in progress. A paper artist I know set a fine example of lingering. Among her work are large collages that include paper, hers, and paper from other sources, wood, metal, glass, and so forth. When she creates a piece, she invariably brings it to a certain point of completion. The next step may seem elusive, but it has its definite stages. She brings the piece in from her studio and hangs it up in her living room. Then she lives with it a few days or a few weeks. As she walks by on her way from here to there and back, she makes sure to take something off the collage that is not necessary and move an item to another spot on the piece, or perhaps take something off altogether. She might add something, a paper, a twig, a piece of string, to see how that affects the composition or the tone of the piece. Sometimes the changes are very small, but the difference to the work can be significant. Once she picked up a twig from her wood box, painted it gold, and placed it on a collage that had hitherto failed to satisfy her. As soon as she had done that, she sensed she had just added what was needed to make the piece whole, finished, and impactful. Other times, she will have to do major reconstructions of a piece, even several reconstructions, with periods of creative lingering between each, and occasionally, alas, she will ultimately conclude that a piece will never come together, will never say to the observer what she was going to say with it. There is nothing to be done but to abandon the piece and call it a learning experience, a process on the way to some other piece. This collage story is an example for you to follow as you linger with your memoir. Reason number 3 to linger. When you linger with your story, you become more confident of your ability to write memoir. Once you have grown comfortable with lingering, you may surprise yourself by sharing pieces that are nearing completion. This is not the same as talking the energy out of pieces that you are thinking of writing or prematurely believing the piece is finished. Ask others whose opinion is dependable and constructively expressed to read your work. Your goal is to receive developmental critiques. Editing received at these later stages of writing can be very important. Lingering won't get your memoir written in a weekend or in a month, but it will get you a much better book. If you would like to explore receiving help with your memoir on any aspect of memoir writing, know that we offer a 30-minute complimentary get-to-know-you coaching consultation. The link to a free session is in the description below. And before you go, please hit the subscribe button at the bottom left of the video and click on the bell at the top of your screen. Subscribing brings you this memoir writing content on your YouTube homepage and recommendations bar, and clicking the bar at the top of your screen brings you notification of new content, often of bonus materials I send to subscribers. Be sure all your bell selections are at all. Oh, and before you go, here's the bonus I promised you, a link to our video, Faulty Process is, well, useless. And remember, inch by inch, it's a cinch, yard by yard, it's hard. Good luck writing your memoir.